Good morning, students. In the last lecture, I had stopped the story where Abu Khan brings in a young goat, expecting at least her to be with him and not to run away to the hills. Let's see whether he succeeds or there's something else in the destiny lying for him. Several years passed. Chandni was still there. Abu Khan believed that Chandni would never leave his compound for the free and fresh air of the hills beyond. He was expecting that Chandni would not leave him and go in trade with, whatever he was giving. He thought whatever he was providing her was the best in the world, and she wouldn't leave him for the for the feel of the fresh air of the hills. Alas, he was mistaken again. Now these words, alas, bravo, are called interjections in English, and they actually help you in emoting very strong feelings of yours. So he was like, this is a interjection useful, showing sadness, how sad you are. Then alas over here, that means he was mistaken again. That means Chandni does go away. Every morning Chandni watched the hilltops bathed in the sunlight. How beautiful those hills are, she thought. How refreshing the breeze that blows through them, and how lovely to run across those green fields. She ran towards the hills but had to stop with a jerk. The rope round her neck wouldn't let her go any further. How she hated that rope. This one also, being an animal who loves the animal which loves its freedom, used to look at the hills and miss not going over there. That breeze, when it would touch her, she would feel the urge of leaving away everything and going away. But even if she would try, when she would move forward, that rope which was clinging onto her neck would stop her from doing so. That is why she started hating that rope which was not allowing Chandni to visit the hill. She stopped eating the green grass Abu Khan brought for her, nor did she listen to his stories with interest and affection. When she was young, she did not understand anything. But as she grew up, she knew the importance of freedom in an animal's life. Or I would say, if a human wants to be free from the clutches of any kind of control, so definitely an animal would also feel the same. So as a retaliation, as a sign of retaliation, she stopped eating anything what Abu Khan would bring. Nor did she listen to his stories with interest and affection. So whatever he would tell her, also his tales, his stories about the previous ghosts, she was not listening, paying attention to that also. She lost her appetite. That means whatever she was eating was very, very less for her good health now. Grew very thin and stared moodily at the hilltops bathed in sunlight. Now the only thing what she wanted from Abu Khan was freedom, so that she would go back to those hills and enjoy her freedom. So that's how, see, when you're not in the mood of something, you're very sad. Firstly, you put on is your food. You don't feel like eating, you don't feel hungry, so you lose your appetite as well. The same thing she was also undergoing. So the only thing she would do is kept on gazing at those hills. Abu Khan did not understand Chandni's anguish. Now this kind of sadness, the moment of sadness what she was going through, he couldn't understand anything at all. At last she decided to speak to him frankly. Now God speaking, because it's a story, okay? Just accept it. Dear Abu Khan, she said, let me go to the hills, please. If I stay in your compound, I'll die. So that's what she addressed to him, and she said, please allow me to go to the hills. If I stay here and feel suffocated, and I'll die. Now Abu Khan understood Chandni's problem, but it made him very unhappy. Why did it make him very unhappy? Because somewhere down the line, he was greedy. He wanted Chandni to be with him, though he wanted her safety also, because he knew that there were dangers out over there. He knew that she was far more safe here when compared to the hills. But still he wanted the company of her as well. The earthen pot which contained Chandni's breakfast fell from his hands and broke into 1,000 pieces. Mitti ka bartan, jisme like earthen pot is mitti ka bartan, in which he was bringing food for her, just slipped out of his hands because he was so heartbroken to hear that she also wanted to go away to the hills. Why do you want to leave me, Chandni? Abu Khan asked. I want to go to the hills, Chandni answered. Don't you like the food over here? I'll give you tastier food and a much longer rope. So that's the deal he wants to strike with Chandni, saying that I'll bring the best food for you possible, and this rope which is you think might be is a little short for you, I'll bring a longer rope so that you can cover a longer area. So, if I put you in such situation, I would say I would give you a bigger room when compared to the room which you're living right now in your home, and say you continuously want to stay in that room, would you stay? No bigger room will be good enough to satisfy your thirst for freedom over here. No thank you, let me go to the hills. Do you realize the risk you are running, you obstinate creature? There is a dangerous wolf in the hills. He'll eat you up. Abu Khan did his best to warn her. Obstinate means ziddi over here. Like, are you even running out of your mind? What are you thinking of? That you want to go over there to become a food of the wolf which is sitting over there in the hills waiting for you to come and attack you and eat you up. Chandni answered, God has given me a pair of horns, I will fight the wolf. Now she was young, as you know. A ghost horns hardly grow. But she is very confident that God has given her those horns to fight back the wolf. Fight the wolf, indeed, because Abu Khan knew that she was not that strong to fight the wolf. Have you forgotten the story of his sister Kalua, who was the size of a big deer? No. Chandni had his sister named Kalua, again a typical village name. So she was as the size of a big deer. Deers are huge in size. She fought the wolf through the night but was killed in the morning. Now Kalua, despite of being the size of a deer, fought the wolf and did not succeed in gaining victory. He was actually bringing this fact into limelight. Would Chandni make it? Because she was not even the size of a deer. Abu Khan narrated Kalua's story for the 50th time. He actually said all these things to stop them from going away, but it was all in vain. To all this, Chandni had only one thing to say, I want to go to the hills. But Chandni had stopped heeding his words, so now nothing mattered to her except for going to the hills. Abu Khan got very annoyed. He thundered, you're not going anywhere. From today, you will live in a small hut and not move freely in the compound. Ungrateful as you are, you must still be saved from the wolf. Now he's more concerned about saving her from the wolf. He said, no matter how ungrateful you are, so much I am doing for you, still I am concerned about you. So this concern I am showing by putting you up in a room. Now you will be locked in a room. He pushed her into a small hut and shut the door. But he forgot to close the small window at the back. The same night, Chandni made that window a passage to freedom. Nothing could have stopped that goat, because as it is, the goat had made this thing up in her mind that it can fight the wolf back, and it wanted to just go and feel the warmth of the sun on the hills. It wanted to feel the fresh breeze which was moving around. Like she wanted to feel the freshness and the freedom of the fresh breeze, not being tied by a rope in some hut over there and kept just because the owner wanted it to be safe from the wolf. So in the next lecture, let's see whether she succeeds in her plan or this fires